welcome to episode 17 of the Natalie in Renaissance podcast. So, in this episode, I want to talk about the cost of clarity and also the role that reflection plays in our lives as artists and as business owners, and just talking about how I am ending the semester and preparing for 2024. And last year, 2023, was a year of my champion habits. And that was sort of the framework in which I viewed the year. And so I was noticing areas where I was inspired, areas where I needed support, and also reflecting on my life as a whole. And so in 2023, what I did was I laid out the 5 most important touchstones of my life and why, and then ways that I could develop those things more, things that I could do, actions I could take, things that were in my control, daily actions that I could take to strengthen those areas or just be more conscientious of developing those in my life. And so every day I would try to do 2 or 3 of those things. I would sort of pick based on my priorities, based on the day. And if I got to do something from all 5, it was a really great day. But I tried to stick with 2 or 3. And doing those things made me feel like I was staying on track and that I wasn't getting sucked in by littler things and neglecting the things that I did consider the most important. And so that time of reflecting and of being self-aware and sort of looking at my life, and then also, what am I doing about that daily? What am I doing about that weekly? And having more of a structure and a framework was really beneficial. And it really made 2023 a great year for me, a great year of exploration, a great deal of finding out more about myself, and a great year of leveling up. And so, as we are discussing reflection, it's so important because I think as artists, as business owners, we want to, number one, we want to create. And so if we're creating something, in order to make any good thing, we have to make a lot of not so great things. And I remember reading this quote, like, if you want to write a book, just write out 300 million first drafts. And, don't get stuck up on just making the beginning perfect, right? The more you do it, the more you will become it. And so I often think about that as I start new things, right? Your first draft is not going to be, a published book. If it is, wow. But really just getting started and creating and just going through the process time and time again, where you are working and analyzing yourself, that is the gift. That in being in the process of creating, of analyzing, you're actually honing your skill, and that's a gift to yourself. And in business, as you make choices, financial choices, marketing choices, anything choices, oftentimes that's more linked to a cost of money, a cost of time. And so being really aware of what is working, being aware of what is not working, and changing something is going to be really important. And so reflection is a very important part of the process for anyone who wants to realize their highest potential, who wants to level up, and also wants to get real in just being honest about the divide between perhaps their head of their thoughts and their current reality. And in reflecting and in being self-aware, we can bridge that gap much sooner, and we can make that a much more seamless process just by being self-aware and by taking the time to achieve clarity. And so what I'm doing now is I am taking time to reflect on what is and what has been. One of my favorite people in the online space right now is Zim Flores, and I just adore her. She is an amazing inspiration spiritually and also in business as a kingdom entrepreneur. And I was listening to one of her lives, and she has so much great content and also a great vision. But also, she just released this annual review, and she has released it online before, and I've done her online review. Sort of, you got to download this document and edit it online. But this year, she decided to launch her annual review in a beautiful fabric notebook keepsake, and it comes in a box and it's just so beautiful. But I bought that, and I remember as she was talking on one of her lives, she was talking about the cost of clarity and how if we do the same thing over and over and over, we're going to build in these patterns that as we are perhaps growing into these new spaces, there are going to be a lot of things that we're not even realizing that we're doing and they're not really working for us, or we're so in the busy that we're missing sight of the larger things. And so she was talking about clarity, having clarity. If you hire a business coach, they are someone who's out of the situation and they can give you advice, or they can give you just something you need to hear to be able to bridge something. And it would be much faster than if you had just kept doing the same thing on your own, if you had even ever gotten there. And I think of a piano lesson or a music lesson where a student is struggling with just one passage, and then they come and they have a lesson and it's just one thought or thinking about something differently. And that moment of clarity, that's why they came for the lesson. And that is the expertise that they are paying for, that they are looking for, because that will totally shift their thinking and will give them a new path for them to take in learning a piece, in performing, or whatever it is. And so I am reflecting on my Year of Champion Habits 2023, and this annual review is just beautiful. And I'm really excited because it dives into every compartment of life, from family to your spiritual life, to your finances, to your health. And it's doing a deep dive on all those things to analyze your patterns and to say, well, this really worked, and you know what, this really didn't work. And so this is not sponsored in any way. I just love Zymflora so much, and I love this annual review, and I'm really excited to be able to jump in and use it. And this is not sponsored, like I said, but if you're interested, I highly recommend it. She has a 30% off code CLARITY until December 31st. And so I will link the link to the sales page for her annual review in these episode show notes. But I really do recommend getting this annual review, because then every year you can have it as a keepsake and it comes in this beautiful box. And it also helps to really honor the year and the time that we have, because sometimes I'm such a goal-oriented person that I can jump from goal to goal. And when I look back on the year, I'm like, wow, I've really done so much. And really taking time to honor the year, to honor the work that you've done is really important. And also recognizing that there's always room to improve. And I think for someone who does want clarity on what they should do, I think really leaning into that self-awareness and also having that structure to support clarity is going to be very useful. So I highly recommend getting this annual review because it is so thorough and it's so beautiful. I have mine in alabaster, but they have a really beautiful chocolate maroon color as well. So again, reflection, super, super important. And I think that's the first step as I wrap up my year. The second thing that I am doing is not only reflecting on what has been, but I am also visioning for the future. And so as I've been talking about being in these inspirational groups and these inspirational communities and just being more aware of things that inspire me, new goals that I have, everything is constantly shifting because I am growing as a person. My goals are shifting. My idea of success is shifting. Just things are shifting because I'm growing and I'm not staying the same. And so as I vision the future, as I envision my next steps, sometimes I can get stuck in words. And I don't know if you feel that way or not, but sometimes I love words, but sometimes I'm just really not good at stringing them together. But I am very good at images. And they say that an image is worth 1,000 words. And so what I've been doing is I've been on Pinterest and I've just been thinking, as I am reflecting, the other side of that would be envisioning the future about what I could do differently. and different goals that I have, I am collecting these images. I took them to the printers and I printed off these really beautiful stickers and I put them all in my vision book. I know that some people can do a vision board, but I think my ideas and talking about clarity, my images have become a lot more nuanced because I'm getting clearer and clearer on the direction that I would like to take in multiple different areas of life. And so I have all these images that are communicating to me and symbolizing a very specific thing. And so, as we talked about in the last episode, triggers and glimmers, all of that interpretation of where one is as one learns and lives and grows is really what our subconscious mind is interpreting things, what it thinks, and our core beliefs. And for people who want to make a change, it's not only the active mind where we're saying, okay, I want to make a change, but it's also training the subconscious mind, the deeper ones, the one that reacts, the one that has reflexes, and it's those gut feelings. And so to train the subconscious mind means that there has to be a lot of repetition. There has to be sort of a clean out of opposing influences where I'm not listening to media that promotes something that I'm trying to minimize and eradicate from my vocabulary, whether it's a limiting belief, whether it's just things that I don't resonate with anymore. And so it's really doing a clean out of my mental library, but also the things that I have around me, whether it's books or the movies that I watch or the music that I listen to. I am removing those and I am putting in more and more of what I want to attract, more and more of where I want to be and where I want to grow to. And so both of these things, reflecting on what has been and also taking time to vision for tomorrow with imaging, visualization, whatever have you, both of these things, these exercises of going through the process of being self-aware, of being reflective, but of also imagining new and better things in the future, it helps to train my subconscious mind to be ready to think in new thought patterns, to be able to take new approaches, to continue to stay mentally flexible, and to be able to recognize certain opportunities that I may not have before if I were still in the same patterns of habit or the same patterns of thought. And so preparing my mind for the future, preparing my mind for the new year in this way is what I'm working on right now. And I thought it would be of value to share with you all as well. And so as we are winding down semesters, as we are winding down school years, definitely take time to rest, but then also take some time to gain clarity on your life, to gain clarity on your role in your life. And I really recommend this annual review planner, creating a vision board for 2024, making a goal list, or just writing something down so you have that documentation. Because what I loved about Zim's last annual review is that I looked in my Google Drive and I looked at it from 2 years ago and I saw all the goals or the things that I've written down and I was like, wow, I made 75% of that happen. And so by documenting it, you realize how far you've come. I think if you never document it or you never sit in the present moment in the space that we have, we never really get to appreciate just how much work we are doing. I know that's something that I need more of in my life, but I just want to encourage you as this new year is coming up and as we also celebrate the holidays to reflect and also to dream. Thanks for listening to this episode today. Like and leave a written review. It would be very appreciated. Follow on Instagram if you're not already at NatalieinRenaissance. Have a great week.